When you use virtual reality at home, you're always trying not to touch anything. Your real-world surroundings, the thinking goes, break the illusion of VR. But it turns out that if you merge the two things, you end up with an experience that's far more immersive. At the Void, a quote, hyperreality facility, they're melding state-of-the-art VR tech with real-world physicality, and in doing so, they're leading a wave of location-based VR. It's a little bit video game, a little bit laser tag, and feels more like an actual adventure than anything else on the market.
And we have fire.
In the Void, every VR space has a real-world counterpart, so physical walls and real-world peripherals intensify that tactility.
Wow, where are we?
Dude, I thought this was inside. No, we're outside. It's a starry night.
When you step into a virtual world, you step in untethered. You step in wearing equipment that is there not just to get you to see the environment, but to feel it as well.
So this is the so-called backtop system. On the back, there is a computer and a big battery pack. On the front, there's a bunch of haptics, kind of rumble packs, and then you put it on, and then there's one more fun part. Now with the headset, which is also part of the Rapture system, a little bit of it is kind of off the shelf, and a lot of it is made special by the Void. The HMD, the head-mounted display, is actually an Oculus Rift, and there's also a Leap Motion module on the front of it, so it tracks your hands. Still, seeing my hands is never going to lose its appeal or novelty. Hyperreality, as they call it, and then other stuff on the inside that they have made themselves, but that's really the heart of the headset.
But for all this tech, hyperreality actually uses some old-school magic theory.
Virtual reality, in its truest sense, is a form of magic. Magic is just creating a new reality for people, using the tools that are available, whether that's picking up a coin and using sleight of hand to make someone think, even if it's just for a second, that that coin could vanish. That's a little reality that you were able to create for them. VR is the same way. We're trying to create new realities that people believe in. So it makes sense to use magic principles to take that to its furthest extent and really get people embedded and immersed in these worlds.
It's easy to assume that the Void would be in a tech or entertainment hotspot like Seattle or Silicon Valley or Los Angeles. But it's here, a half hour outside Salt Lake City. And while the company has plans to expand to other cities in the near future, for now, they're keeping it local.
We've learned a lot this year about the process of getting people into the Void and out of the Void, and the best way to do that, most efficient way to do that. How do we track them as accurately as possible? How do we get them to interact with objects as accurately as possible? How do we represent where their eyes are looking and what their emotions are to the people around them? Because there's so much communication as nonverbal. We want to capture that, and that's been one of the bigger technical challenges we've had. But one that fortunately we don't have to just solve ourselves, because there's a whole industry out there trying to also solve this very problem. If I walk over to a wall and I reach out to touch that wall, I'm going to feel it. And if it's bricks, I'm going to feel bricks. If something blows up.
Whoa! Okay, the door exploded. Yeah, everything just went off. That haptic feedback is really something.
I'm going to feel the blast of that explosion. If there's fire, I'm going to feel that heat.
It's warm.
It's more than just your eyes. Reality is way more than just your eyes. And so we represent all of those things in the Void to different degrees. And it's the compilation of these sensory effects that combine together to create a new reality. And then we just don't just make a regular reality, we make an impossible reality for you to play in.
So I have done a lot of things in virtual reality, but I can't say I've ever done something that brought together so many different types of experiences into a single one, let alone one that was so completely unique.
The end result combines elements of video games, movies, and real-world obstacle courses. But the fact that you share the experience with other people makes it more than the sum of its parts. Your partners aren't logged in at computers hundreds of miles away, they're right there with you in the room. And that social aspect sticks with you long after you come out.
It's not hard to imagine that this is going to get VR into the hands and onto the faces of many, 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 many more people than might have tried it otherwise.